Two more examples. Here we go. Notice that A, B, and C, the only number that will divide 4, 15, and negative 4 is 1. So we're ready to go. We make our star. And we multiply first number times last number. Kind of looks like a rainbow. Okay? So a positive 4 times a negative 4 is a negative 16 that goes up top here. We now look in the middle. We note that's a positive 15, so I write it down here. So now I'm thinking I need two numbers that multiply to a negative 16, but add to a positive 15 all at the same time. Okay, you can list them out. You can do 1 times 16, you can do 2 times 8, you can do 4 times 4, you can do all kinds of combinations. But remember, if you multiply to a negative, one is positive and one is negative. And if you do some fooling around with that, you can tell that if you do a positive 16 times a negative 1, that fulfills both requirements. This times this is a negative 16. And at the same time, 16 minus 1 is 15. Yay. Okay? So now, what number do we bring in? Do you remember? We bring in the leading coefficient. We bring in A. We're going to put a 4 here and a 4 here. And now we have two fraction-looking thingies right here. We ask ourselves, can we reduce 4 over 16? And you say, yes, we can. 4 goes into 4 once, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. So 4 over 16 reduces to 1 over 4. So now my first binomial, top number, remember the top number goes up front in front of the x, and the bottom number will be, in this case, that's a positive 4, so it's plus 4. So my first factor is x plus 4. Okay? Now, if I come over here, the only number that will divide this is 1. This is reduced. It is improper, but it is reduced. Okay? So this one's ready to go. So the top number will go up front in front of a second x, because I need 2 of them to make the x squared. And the bottom number will, that's a negative, so that's going to become a minus 1. And that's my second factor. And if you take the time to box multiply this, guess what you get? That. So this is your final factored answer. All right. Here's another one. Here we go. The only number that can divide 16, 8, and 1 is 1, so we're ready to go. Let's make our star. And let's multiply the front times the back. 16 times 1, that's both positive, so this is going to be a positive 16. So I'm multiplied to positive 16, but I want to add to a negative 8. All right, so let's check this out. Listen, I've got to add to get negatives, but this is positive. See, if I do 1 times 16, I'm never going to get into negative land. So we need to do a little thinking and say, hey, wait a minute. A positive times a positive is a positive, but also a negative times a negative is a positive. Why don't I use 2 negatives? Here we go. If I do a negative 1 times a negative 16, I get the positive 16, but if I add them, I get negative 17. Nope, don't want to use that. All right, let's try another combination. Negative 2 times a negative 8 is a positive 16. Negative 2 plus a negative 8 is a negative 10. That's another way I can multiply to get 16. How about a negative 4 times itself? Oh, wait a minute. A negative 4 plus another negative 4 is negative 8. Yay, this is what we want. So we're going to use a negative 4 and a negative 4 in my bottom slots because they multiply to be a positive and they add to be a negative 8. Okay, you all remember what we bring down? All right, we bring down the leading coefficient, which is 16. Put them in both slots, and we create two fractions. Okay, these will help us in our two binomials, which is what we want to do. We want to factor. We want to find out, well, what two things can I box multiply to get the original problem? All right, can I reduce this fraction on the left? Yes, 4 goes into 16 4 times, and 4 goes into -4 a -1 time. And, well, wait a minute, these guys are the same. So that means that this cancels or reduces, 4 goes into 16 4 times and into -4 a -1 time. Oh, these two guys are going to be the same. So my top part comes down here and is in front of the x, so I'm going to have a 4x, and the bottom part is going to fulfill the remainder of the binomial, so that's -1, and you notice this is going to do the same thing. So this is our answer, or some people like to say, well, this is times itself, so you can write this down and put an exponent of 2 if you want to. Potato, potato, who cares? It's all the same thing.